This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this?
They're watching.
Why doesn't she know coming?
Playing Hellblade is probably the closest you'll ever get to that weird mushroom trip you and your friends had way back in the day in that dark forest when you were younger. It's freaky, scary, a bit emotional, and you're sweating a lot during the whole experience, even in the aftermath of it all. Very much like that trip, you're very okay with not doing it ever again, but you'll brag about it to everyone you think is worth your time, and you want to see their reactions as well. On the journey through Senua's declining mental state, whilst powering through her quest she set out for herself, she'll drag you along on an emotional, personal and confusing ride through the land of both mortals and gods. See, Senua has about a football stadium living inside her head, shouting stupid, scary, helpful and very unmotivating stuff. These voices haunt both of you and Senua through the whole experience, and will leave both of you and Senua mentally unstable and tired after you step away from it.
That's the way. Get down.
What's she waiting for?
Do you know where you are?
Where are we?
Why did she do that? She shouldn't have done it. She can't go back now.
No, this is it.
A ride through the mind of a person dealing with heavy psychosis will do that to a person. From the very moment you plant your feet on the ground to the very end of the game, you'll constantly hear the yelling and whispering of these devils and angels in your head, always arguing and discussing your actions. Even you walking in a straight line throughout the incredibly beautifully designed world is enough to trigger these voices and yell at you until you break down in your sofa or chair, wondering why you're so goddamn useless when you're actually doing a perfectly fine job.
She's done it before. She can. She'll do it again. How will she do it? There must be a way.
So you have to try.
She did it. You can see it. The bridge.
She can't cross the bridge.
It's broken. She has to fix it.
It's too dangerous.
She's done it before. You have to fight her. Run away.
Go.
Run away.
It's not over. It's not over. Do it. Going.
They aim to break you at all costs. And sometimes I even sat in my chair hoping that they would at least say something nice about my performance in the world. See, this is where the game shines. With binaural sound design and creepy voices, this makes for an experience you're likely not to forget in a long time. At times you hear someone yelling at you to the far left, far away in the distance, and suddenly there's three people whispering unspeakable things all around you in your ears. It gives you an experience like I've never had before, and it has to be played with good headphones to get the full effect. Senua's voice, on the other hand, is both emotional, haunting, and at times almost unnaturally real. So are the voices in your head. Combined with the ambient sounds like rain, thunder and wind is amazing when put together with the atmosphere. At times I just stood still to listen to it all, as it sometimes had me very calm despite the voices in my head yelling at me for pushing a door like a goddamn loser. When not watching the visuals, exploring Senua's story or listening to the maniacs in your head, you often find yourself solving puzzles to progress the world. These puzzles are everything from finding runes in the environment to navigating through old Viking crypts that just seem to go in circles. They're not necessarily well keep you intrigued, and they can be damn right frustrating at times, but it's a welcoming change as the fighting you occasionally do will leave your adrenaline pumping for a bit. Speaking of fighting, from dudes with beaks as heads and demigods, you'll often find yourself fighting for your life at several times. At first, the fighting seems like something of an afterthought, But as the story goes on and the plot thickens, you'll see that the fighting gets harder, frustrating, even amazing. Everything from Senua's agility while attacking, dodging and parrying makes for a real close-up and a personal experience that builds up, and you get really worried when you take a hit. You fear for your life and get a bit paranoid when you do a misstep and the voices inside your head tell you that you're pathetic and too slow. But sometimes, since these voices require you to stay alive, they often alert you if something is coming from behind and suddenly tells you to jump away when there's an incoming axe to the face.
Behind you! Focus!
It's the only way.
You're stronger than that. Focus. Focus!
This is again where the game shines. You, Senua, and her demons fighting for both failure and success at the same time. A beautifully messy and well-tailored experience. Now, the reason we need to talk about this is simply this. Why are we not seeing more like this in the gaming industry? It feels like your Ubisofty-like games are taking the whole Steam store or the sales front by storm, as they're becoming the norm of AAA game experiences. Now, I'm not saying these games are necessarily bad, some of them are quite good actually. It just seems like you're clear out the settlements, play your own way, scan the area and collect your collectibles, are being put in front of more interesting stories and experiences. I'm in no way saying the norm of AAA games should be replaced by the likes of Hellblade, That Dragon Cancer or What Remains of Edith Finch. Those are just examples. But it would surely be something spectacular to see games like these come out of their shell and not be labeled as controversial by the mainstream audience. I feel like big publishers don't dabble in that area at all, if they can see anyone labeling it as controversial. Now, sales might not be as good as the next Assassin's Creed, Battlefield, Call of Duty or the next Fallout, but it would surely turn a profit if care and love went into it. Big companies look at sales like this. If it doesn't sell around 12 million copies, it's a flop, even though they turned a profit millions ago. Not every game can be a blockbuster, not every game can be spectacular. But how are you going to find that next big thing if you're not experimenting? Games are a beautiful thing. Why not explore them to their fullest potential, much like what Ninja Theory is doing in their latest masterpiece, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.